perspective, a key fundamental of building wealth is the protection aspect. It's to protect against things that are unforeseen. Life throws a lot of curveballs at us. We have job changes, we have redundancies, there's different things. We have to protect the greatest asset that we have, which is our ability to earn an income. So I think, Reuven, from your perspective, can you just take us through how some people can put protections in place so they're not forced to sell at the wrong time?
Yeah, sure, Andrew. You mentioned sort of protecting your ability to earn income year in, year out, and decade in, decade out. And it's just interesting to note that the average worker in Australia, we're not talking about sort of high-flying executives, the average worker in Australia will earn over their career between $3 to $4 million. So that ability, that is a sizable asset that you need to protect. And there are three traditional ways of protecting that asset and protecting also the flow-on effects of that. If your ability to earn income is interrupted, the flow-on effects onto your loved ones. Of course, the way to protect against death, derailing your retirement and investment plans, is to take out life insurance. If you do not pass away prematurely, but you are injured to such an extent, or you have such an illness that you become an invalid and you are totally disabled, then of course the protection to put in place for that is total and permanent disablement insurance. And if you are injured or sick, but you will be recovering, so you are temporarily disabled, the protection to put in for that is income protection or salary continuance insurance. But protecting your assets also involves protecting how those assets will be transferred, for example, to the next generation or to your family members. And for that, you need a will, and it should be properly drawn up by a solicitor. You should also realize that a superannuation, which for most people is the second largest asset after their home, is not automatically a will asset. So you need to have a beneficiary nomination in place for that as to who gets your superannuation, which is also a major asset when you are no longer there. But as Andrew has mentioned, life, how do you sort of preempt the curveballs that life can sometimes throw at you? And here we're not talking about an insurance event. We're talking about something that is unexpected, out of the blue, but is very expensive, right? So the protection that you need to put into place over there is a rainy day or an emergency fund account of, say, perhaps at least 3 or 4 months worth of salary of the main income earner, because you want to avoid a situation where, if you haven't preempted a financial curveball that has a drastic effect, you might have to sell an asset, and you might have to sell an asset at the wrong time. And selling an asset also, I think, Sam, then brings up the consideration, well, if you need the money very quickly, what is the liquidity of the asset that you might be forced to sell because you haven't sort of got that protection in place of an emergency fund or sort of a rainy day account? So, Sam, could you just sort of elaborate? There's different asset classes and different investment markets, and that would have different sort of liquidity aspects if you don't have that emergency fund protection in place.